So my name is Kathryn Mannix. I am a retired palliative care specialist doctor, and I took early retirement to campaign for better public understanding of dying. And I decided to do that because after working in palliative care for 30 years, I realised that members of the public were still as not knowing and as terrified about dying as they had been when I first came into palliative care 30 years ago. And over that period of time, I worked alongside something more than 10,000 people at the very end of their lives. So I thought there's a wisdom here to be shared, and I took early retirement to try and find a way of sharing it. And one of the projects I engaged with quite early on in that campaigning was the very beginnings of the art of dying well. What I'm really looking forward to getting out of this day is listening to people who already have experience of providing companionship and have models for visiting that have got all of the safeguards in place, and thinking about how we can extend those sorts of models into this very particular group of members of our society who find themselves at the very end of their lives. I'm going to be talking about those tender conversations and about how important it is that when people are facing the end of their lives, some of the role of their companions is not simply to do things for them, but to be alongside that person and allow them, if they want to do that, and invite them so they know their companion is willing to do that, to reflect on the things that matter, to think about what their life has been about, what the triumphs and the joys have been, and yes, maybe also what some of the regrets have been. What are the life lessons, what are the wisdoms that they'd like to share? Because I've observed over my whole medical career, 40 years or more, that towards the very end of life, people do become very reflective, and those are very, very important conversations. But sometimes family and friends close them down because they worry that the conversations will be upsetting. So I'm going to be talking about how do we get alongside people to allow them to reflect aloud, to encourage them to do that if that's what they want to do, and how to really embrace the notion of those really deep and tender conversations. The thing that's exciting about this conference for me is that it's bringing together experts from lots of different fields. So there are people who are bringing their palliative and end-of-life care expertise as clinicians and providers of services, but there are also people who are bringing together expertise in the running of visiting services on a voluntary and companionship basis. And I think that when you put together those sorts of expertise, what happens is that both of those people learn from each other and go away enriched by it. But the actual product of all of that is much more than just adding the expertise that each person brings. They kind of amplify each other, and we end up with a much, much richer set of ideas at the end of it. I'm really excited about this conference. I hope lots of people are going to join us for this conference about companionship at the end of life on the 22nd of September. They can come in person, they can join us online. This is a meeting for everybody. This is about us as individuals and the ways in which we can support people who might be our family and our friends, as much as people we might meet because they are our clients or our patients in a more professional setup. And the more of us who bring our ideas and experience together, the better and the more enriched we're going to be. So please do join us.